Days Gone is a new IP from Sony and Bend Studios, and I have to admit, for a fresh IP they have managed to make a flawed yet solid debut that has huge potential going forward on better hardware and learning the initial lessons from this outing. Honestly, a sequel could be something special in my opinion when it comes to this, and yes, I am aware this game is over a year old now, but it's still a new IP. Some pre-warnings first though. Firstly, you have to be ready for a journey game. If you're a quick action type, pick me up and play, this isn't for you. Yes, it's an open world, and yes, it's arcade in its action and motorbike handling, but the story is a slow, patient build-up that you need to immerse yourself in to get the joys out of it in the long haul. In this respect, some may need a few goes before the game clicks with them, others will just not like it. For me, it took me a second time of trying it before it actually dawned on me how good a game this was. Platinum hunters will be happy that this is a standard plat list and can be done on easy, but 100%ers will have to go on the higher difficulties to mop up the extra trophies that have been attached to the game after. Only one niggly trophy of note is in this game, and that is to search about, I think it was 512 human bodies for items. So if you keep doing that as you're playing, this won't be a problem, but if you don't and you start doing it near the end of the game, it's going to be a bit of a drag and a ball ache. But that's down to you, you've been warned. Also, it makes a point in certain story points that you can't carry on or go back to a certain area. That's not actually 100% true. You can, it's just later on when the story comes back round to allowing you, or you can go and do it in the end game. Nothing is missable in this game, and collectibles isn't a chore. You only get half of them in the game, and there is a good couple of hundred, so you can just pick them up on your way. The story is focused on a drifter named Deacon, who has survived the end of civilization and has been surviving for quite a while with the help of camps and the Brother-in-Arms. Multiple survivors have grown into factions, and though one or two in the game stand out as villains and protagonists, a lot more could have been done with some of the other fringe groups and just to build that world up. The camps is a nice idea also, and make for some nice compelling story arcs, but some camps felt shallow and more could have been done in scope in how they can impact gameplay and what they can offer, as it felt basic and handicapped at times. Something that was jarring with me was that when you find rival holdouts or camps, they always seemed just a bit poorly defended and at odds with the threat in the game. A bit jarring considering the threat, and you would have thought that they would be dead before you even reach them. Traversing the world is simple with a trusty bike, but you will need to keep an eye on its fuel, and it can't take much of a hit either. But it's fully upgradable and repairable, with parts scavenged in the world, and that goes for most of the stuff you carry, including bombs and ammunition for your crossbow. Action-wise, the gameplay feels like a quicker Last of Us, just not as polished, but not broken either. And you also get a handy on-screen map, which will give you a warning or indication of directional threats, which becomes very handy when things get heated.
Her legs are broken. She ain't going anywhere, bro. We gotta get a move on. Just do it.
Hey, sweetheart. Sweetheart? It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay. Shh. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's okay, sweetheart.
As you can see in the cutscene, the game has flashes of great moments, but some of the characters and scenes can be a bit wooden, or just doesn't click as it should, but thankfully when the better darker scenes come, they are handled well and they don't shy away from some grim situations. This leads me on to the biggest issue of Days Gone, and that is the pacing of the story. It's all over the place. The game only starts to hit its stride halfway through, and a lot of character build-up happens with not much going on, bar minor threats. It's not terrible, and the slower missions give more weight to actions later on, but the payoff just doesn't quite hit the highs it wanted or is meant to achieve, especially as your character can feel quite powerful later on before you even deal with the big main threats of the game. This brings me to the star of the show, and it's the new gaming threat that is the Horde. It's been a while since I got edgy and uncomfy about an enemy in any game, and Days Gone delivers. One misstep, one huge noise, and you may find yourself running like a coward from 300 plus monsters who react and sprint like it's World War Z. Throw in some variations of these monsters and infected wildlife alongside normal wildlife that wants to kill you, and you have a big bloody mess on your hand. Though, more difficult and counter monsters to varying playstyles really could have pushed things to another level, but it felt played safe on the initial mechanic they have. So Days Gone gets a 4 out of 5. If you have patience, you will find under the surface a brilliant game with the base of something bigger going forward. I have only a chance to fit in so much, but there is highlights from the weather changes, as you'll stop to admire a storm, or how the snow comes into play, and just how creepy Newt can be. But there are things to improve, as graphically it's nice, but not as polished as other big titles, and human enemies are basic and bland, with most playing out the same behaviours regardless of the faction, and that the free roaming horde aren't in the game earlier to really give danger to travelling and exploring, as those moments of accidentally bumping into them are really what makes it memorable. Hope you liked the video, give me a like, subscribe and feedback.